Hi, Marek Suchar, Head of Partnerships and co-founder of Odin GG.
Marek, your theme for ICE 2026 is make every minute bettable. What does that mean, and why is it so important that that is the theme for this event?
Yeah, absolutely. Many thanks for the question. We are entertainment industry. So from the perspective, many times what we are competing with and who we are competing with is the likes of Netflix, it's YouTube, it's Spotify. Essentially, we are competing for attention. So what do I really want to achieve is that if the next level of engagement people are watching their favorite esports, they are watching their favorite sports, eventually they would want to bet with you as well because this is the extra skin in the game. And in that regard, what we want to achieve is to be available almost all the time. So this way, the sportsbook, our partners, they are able to generate the handle every time the bettor comes into their sportsbook and they want to bet. And how and why we are addressing this is that we have multiple different contents. When it comes to esports, Counter-Strike, Dota 2, they are not played all the time. So we have our Counter-Strike duels, we have our Dota 2 duels, and this is 24/7. So even there is no major competition, not smaller competition, we have the content there. Similarly, we are supporting grassroots Counter-Strike scene where we are working with a lot of tier 2 tournaments where we are buying official data from them. Again, for the sake of helping them grow, but at the same time, securing content for our partners, for the bookmakers. On top of it, we've seen, of course, the sportsbook, they have a lot of bettors coming from traditional sports such as football, basketball, and that's why we have introduced our eSIM. So esports simulators, such as eFootball, eBasketball, from the perspective of competitive gaming. And this is also 24/7 solution. So the traditional football, basketball fans, they are already familiar with this time of games. They can come, and even if there is no major sports, no major football match being played, they can come to that solution. They can bet on it. This is much more fast-paced. This is up to 8 to 10 minutes in terms of results. So again, it is additional game filler. On top of it, this year is about World Cup. So our eFootball solution works nicely already with that. But on top of it, we are constantly looking for the innovation because Odin GG is not just the esports provider. We are enlarging the portfolio also for the engaging betting content. And this is what we have been launching recently, which is literally behind me, which is Penalty Arena, where you have the gap filler because as we have learned from the partners, many times if you have a football match in between the halves, when there is a halftime, many of the people leave, they go to casino, even though they would like to stay with the sportsbook. And we have the fast-paced action every 60 to 90 seconds bet as a penalty shootout. That is much more engaging, much better than any product on the market right now. And as we are right now, fifth hour in the ice show, we have already received all the positive feedback on the solution. So on our side, it is about growing that handle. We know we can deliver the margin, we can deliver a high-quality product. So the only way how we can grow ourselves as well as to provide growth for our partners is to increase the handle. And that's why coming back yet again to 24/7 content that is available there all the time.
Fantastic. Can you share any data or information about penalty shootout and what we've seen so far?
Yeah, absolutely. For now, again, we are going to launch the product, so we don't have specific data about the turnover and all of that, but the positive feedback is already there. What we have learned, again, on top of the drop of the bettors activity in the halftime, and this will be great for the World Cup, where you have a high expected gains with a lot of volume, with a lot of audience, but in the half times there is nothing actually where to go to. At the same time, when we spoke to our partners, many of them are saying that if there is a penalty shootout in a game, in the particular game, you can easily generate 5 to 10% of the volume in that particular game just on the penalties. So this is where we are starting when it comes to data. And of course, from the perspective of the improving the content and improving all of that, we are looking far beyond the products only. So we don't want to provide only the product solutions, but at the same time, much more engagement, much more social interactions. So the plan with Penalty Arena is not just have a product there, but to allow the sportsbook to essentially bring the solution live to the teams that they sponsor. We have already spoken to Betway about Arsenal. We can go with Betano to Flamengo. We can go with Stake to Everton. We can go with Tipsport to Sparta Praha. So essentially, we can make those connections and marketing activations directly with the teams that are sponsored by the bookmakers.
Fantastic. And what problems does having this alternative content calendar that Odin provides, What problems do they solve on the operator end?
Yeah, one thing is that you have a couple of solutions on the market, but at the same time, many times the question is the quality. We know we can deliver the margin, so it is about the handle, but at the same time, it is about the proximity, so people actually want to play with your product. They want to bet on it. They trust it. So that's why we have a lot of integrity measures in place. That's why we are part of EC Coalition. That's why we essentially also monitor the tickets very with a high scrutiny to identify any potential suspicious activity there as well. At the same time, if you look at football fans, right, the content is there all the time. So if they sit down in front of what we see over there as esports football game, then again, they have an immediate connection with that. Even though these are two players playing the game of FC 2026, essentially you know exactly what's going on the screen. And this is what we want to bring from as a transition from the traditional sportsbook to essentially to esports kind of solutions. So this is how you can connect your football fans to your eFootball solution, how you can connect your basketball fans to your eBasketball solution. What we have learned with the partners is that many times, essentially all the time, 8 to 15% of the volume on eFootball, eBasketball is what they generate on the actual traditional sportsbook. So just plugging in our solution, you can generate extra 10% in terms of handle, in terms of GGR. So of course, this is something that all the bookmakers are open to.
Fantastic. And you've obviously introduced Bet Builder for eSIMs. Bet Peak was a new product you've recently launched. What other esports themed products are in the pipeline for Rodin for 2026?
Many thanks for the question. From our side, again, our roots is esports, and we are not going to walk away from it. At the same time, we are looking beyond esports in terms of what are the innovative solutions we can bring to the market, what are the things where we can bring the engagement, the marketing element, the social element to the stage. And that's why we are essentially enlarging the portfolios of multiple other verticals. At the same time, we don't want to deliver just the product and just the solution. We want to go beyond that. With BetPeak, what we are doing is that when you go to your Counter-Strike matches, essentially with any of the tournament organizers, you can go to Kick, you can go to Twitch, you can go to YouTube, but you are kind of from the observer perspective forced to look at the match, how they are presenting it to you. With BetPeak, we are completely changing that. You can follow your favorite player, you can follow a certain clutch, you can look at a certain choke point on the map, because you can just fly around the map and take a look at the match the way that you would like to take a look at it. At the same time, we are not forcing you into the betting. This is just additional element. But at the same time, if you want to bet, you need to go to the secondary screen. You need to leave the match as such. You have an overlay. You can easily get there. You can make a bet, and then you can continue following your match. This is the same with, to some extent, with Penalty Arena, where this is not your yet another sportsbook solution, where you are just a passive consumer of the content, but you can, as a bettor, actually influence where the ball is going to be shot. So before everything starts, the machine shoots the ball. There are voters, so the viewers are essentially selecting where the ball is going to go. It can be top right corner, it can be middle. You are in charge of where the ball is going to go. And then only you are betting. So there's a social element where we can bring this to masses in a way. Look, this can be done differently. It is not yet another consumption of the content. You have an active say in saying how this would look like in the upcoming minute, 30 minutes or an hour as you stay and play. Many times what we are seeing on the sportsbook side is that they are looking for additional sportsbet content, even though they understand that casino element is massive. And this is what we are bringing to them in a way that this is actually a sportsbook solution. There is no RNG, there is no virtuality. This is a real goalkeeper in a real football, in this particular case, smaller size ice handball net. So we are bringing this where there is a lot of interaction. And again, we see that step outside of... That was probably a good one. And this is also where we step outside of your traditional comfort zone, and this is just a content consumption. This is actually a content influence that you can have as a viewer, as a bettor. On top of it, we are launching also our new league with avatars, where playing as a person versus person, so human versus human in eFootball matches, there's a certain limit to that solution because you need to hire more and more people. But we are coming to the market with eSIM solution bot versus bot, where this is scalable essentially to infinity. This can be fully personalized to the certain geolocations, Brazil, Spain, Italy. We can just run the leagues particular for those sportsbooks. So again, this is something on top of what is available on the market. But we are not just standing there. We are introducing our own avatars, which means that you have a certain specific personalities that are as bots playing those games. So this is fully scalable. This is an extra level of interactions in a way of those personalities, how they interact with the game. So it is much more about the engagement element. So again, from Odin, GG coming into the 2026 more as a Realms group, as we call the group right now, it is stepping outside of the esports zone and looking at the way where we can provide much more engagement, much more social interaction, much more innovation to the market, because many times what we are seeing on the market is repetitive and we want to break through.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me.